Alright, so check this out, guys. You buy yourself a nice new block and you think everything's ready to build. Well, if you just do a little bit of work, you'll find out. I use this, Dicam, and I also have Dicam in a spray can, like a spray paint, and you can paint your bearing, right? And then you sit it down where it's supposed to go, and you'll paint the track that it sits on the bearing, and then you'll see that the oiling groove surface actually doesn't quite line up with where the oil is supposed to be flowing. So this is going to feed a rod, right? So if you're not even getting proper oil, that's less than half of the oiling that you're supposed to be getting. So how do you fix that? How do you machine a groove wire into the bearing without taking out the dial? You also want to paint the dial to make sure that you're not going to hit the top side, the inside, right? So you can paint the top side of the dial and paint this side of the bearing. When you do that, when you paint the outside of the bearing, you sit it down, you paint this high side of the dial. If the dial hits all the way up against it, you'll have dye inside. So you'll know that your dial is too tall, and it's going to affect your tolerances because it's going to squeeze the bearing upwards because it's not going to sit down flush. So another thing you can do, another thing that you find out is the oiling groove, and it'll give you a little sign of where it's not sitting. What I do is I just grind a groove into it. There's different dyes you can use, but this is enough. All you need to do is create a gateway for the oil to have more volume into this groove. So you're feeding this groove, and this is gonna sit now against this. So now your oiling groove is the proper size, and you may not be into the groove itself, but at least you're creating a gateway, a ramp into it. And instead of hitting a wall like this, will be flat because now you're hitting an actual entrance of oil. So that helps with the oiling system dramatically. This is what you call blueprinting an engine. And this is all up there. You already bore gauged everything. You already find out everything's the right bearing. This is the one you're going to use. You have about a 1.5 dial space between your crank and your bearing on this side and on that side. So this one obviously fits perfectly. You can tell the kind of bearing I'm using. The oiling holds perfect. And this one right here is the same problem. We have the same problem right here, where if you have it blocked off right here, you will not be able to lubricate your rear rods, because it'll be enough oil to lubricate the rear main. But remember, you have the flywheel right here, and then you have to provide oil to a rod. This one provides oil to 2 rods, this one to 1, and this one to another one. This is going to be 4, this is going to be 1 and 2, and 1 and 3, and this is going to be 2. So this one right here is going to give you I machined it already. Well, just what I just showed you. And then look, I have no dye in here. That means that the dial pin itself is not hitting up against it, that it's sitting far enough down that it's not affecting the overall dimension of the bearing when it's squeezed all the way down. And you have oil actually feeding in to your orifice where it's supposed to be. So now you just set it back down, and then you double check everything again. But same thing with this one. You want to make sure that big ass hole is going to end up with this little hole, which is easy to do. This one's usually not a problem. And then that's pretty much it. Another thing you want to do is I usually check for end play on the cam, grind down the bearings in the front and the back to create enough thrust that you have about an end play of about 1/1000th of an inch. On an aluminum block, you can do as much as 2. On a magnesium block, you do 1, depending on the horsepower rating or whatever you're going to do. But you at least want to have some end play. You do not want to put it all tight, because you're losing horsepower, creating a bunch of friction right there. It creates a lot of heat between here and here. This part of the cam is going to get really, really freaking hot if you don't have space between it, right? And as soon as you slap a new bearing in there, you'll see how tight it really is. And if you cannot do this to your cam, then you're already losing horsepower right off the bat. This guy does not want a straight cut gear. He wants the regular gear because he's a bus, he's a camper. The last thing he wants noticeable right here. You gotta clean it all up. All the tanks, the cutouts. Yeah, mostly right here. You gotta clean them all up. Make sure there's nothing here that's gonna get in the way when you put your bearings in. Yeah, just clean them up. This is a nice case with the big windows. Some cases back when they started coming out with these, I still seen them around. They have a tiny window right here, which is no good. See, there's places you don't want to get silicone, like that vein right there, or anywhere that will get close to the main bearings. You don't need it. So it took probably 9 hours to get the motor in, but it's in. It's a lot of work. It's all dirty, has all my fingerprints everywhere. Still haven't even put the bumper on, but the bus is ready to run. I'm gonna go on a test drive right now. Still haven't put it on the ground. It is a camper bus, pop top. Sure it doesn't have any flat spots or any hiccups. Sure it pulls that big hill, remember the big hill?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was like, do you want to start slip up the...
Yeah, that'll break in the rings for sure. With 125 rockers. It's right at 901. It's got 82 by 92 thick walls. The cylinders are thicker than even a stock 1600. They are the thickest cylinders you can get. They have AA Performance stroker pistons. We got three thou on the piston wall, 3 thou everywhere else. It's got German bearings, and it would actually be a little more torquey if we had put regular 101 rockers, but then you wouldn't be able to rev to like 65. If you ever need to take it to 65, it will go to 65. Where if we just put the 101,
yeah,
you'll be out of 5.
Okay.
Like 5,000 RPM will already be like tanking. I had them pull all the way to 7. That's in camp, but with 1.3 rockers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's gone all the way to 7 on the dyno, and then he dipped down. 6,700. We didn't even hit 7, but it was close. And if you had probably bigger valve, it would have done it. But